What's going on, guys? Welcome to Dan Demand Reviews, where we talk Ultimate Fighter Women's Division. Last night, Team Melendez versus Team Pettis. And unlike the first episode, which was full of drama, full of backstory, and full of just excitement on the fight, and it was a great fight, this episode kind of took a back burner. And I will be completely honest, it was kind of slow. But we start off with the recap where Team Pettis' team feels like Team Pettis isn't teaching them the right way. And what I mean by that is Team Pettis, I guess, training method is a stop and go training method, but it's mostly stop then go, as Team Pettis believes that they're not gaining that much. That every time they stop and they're being corrected on what to do, it's never really focused. They're never really just keep going. They're not it's just mostly just standing and watching the coaches teach them, when it's not really just them sparring. Well, and the other complaint they had, I believe, is that there's not enough coaches for the coaches to go to all the fighters, which they only, Team Pettis and I think Team Melendez only has 6 coaches each. So that's the main issue, I guess, in this episode. But we go to the fight, though. The fight is the main reason we watch this show. Maybe to get some backstory on these fighters, but of course somebody's going to have to be crowned at the end of the season. And we start off with Joanne Calderwood from the Scottish Unbeaten versus Emily Kagan. Kagan? I believe it's Kagan. Maybe it's Hagen. Kagan? Yes, it is Emily Kagan. From Albuquerque, New Mexico. And watching Emily, you knew as the show was progressing that the only way she was going to be Joanne was if she got her to the ground, because her striking didn't seem all too impressive, as Joanne's striking seemed more impressive, and she looked like that number 2 seed. Well, it's kind of shocking that she's number 2, but at the end of this fight, but she seemed like she was a top contender for the belt, as her striking ability looked very impressive. But Emily's striking ability looked like they needed a little bit more work, but her wrestling looked pretty solid. Well, we get to the fight, and I thought, hey, if Emily doesn't get her to the ground, she loses. If she gets if Emily gets Joanne to the ground, she wins. But she cannot stand up with her. She should not stand up with her, and hopefully she doesn't do that, but she did do that, and Joanne took over immediately in the first round. Well, not immediately, because both of them felt each other up as they were just standing around, just seeing what the other opponent has to offer. But Joanne had more shots in, did more stuff, did more striking, punches, kicks. Those kicks were really going at Emily, which I was surprised Emily didn't catch one. And, well, Joanne won the first round by doing a little bit more than Emily. Then we went on to the second round. Second round, same deal. Emily tried to get her to the ground, but there was no prevail, as Joanne just kept on striking a little bit more, using those kicks, until attempting a submission, Kimura. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. As they both went onto the ground, and then they were in an awkward position where Emily got the top position, but I guess you want to call it top, as they were in a 69 position, and Emily couldn't seem to get out of the grasp of Joanne's legs. Well, as they remained in the 69 position towards the end of the round, it seemed like that could have went either way, but I had Joanne winning slightly because she did more, and she did a submission attempt, and she just overall just did a little bit more other than Emily. And to my non-surprise, I was right on the money. Joanne wins and not going to a third round, which I wouldn't have been very fine with, because these two were pretty much, it was a close fight, but it wasn't a very memorable fight. But Joanne Calderwood wins, moves on, and poor Emily Kagan, she loses pretty much, but she will get better, and hopefully we'll see more of her in the future. But that's it. That's a little recap on Ultimate Fighter, last night's episode. That was my thoughts. I believe that my thoughts on Joanne Calderwood, though. I was kind of disappointed by her, honestly. I thought she would be more I thought she would take the fight a little bit more to her hands. I thought she would really win with her striking ability, but she wasn't all too impressive. But it could depend on the opponent, because Emily Kagan could have was a tough opponent. I'll give her that. But her strike, I think if Emily improves on her striking, if she would have had striking, she would have won that fight. And if she would have got a little bit more closer in to Crawwood, she could have won. But Joanne seemed like she had a good defense. She seemed like she was a little bit more powerful than Emily, and that's what won the fight. She pretty much bullied her way into winning that one. But anyway, so that means, guess what? Team Melendez is 0-2, and Pettis is on a roll. And I will catch you next week on the next Ultimate Fighter and how that goes. Like I said, not too much in this episode. But it was very, very good to know the backstories of these two young ladies. One was from Albuquerque and the other one was from Scotland. So let's see next episode and see where we rank at. See these. See the other two girls fight. Okay, you guys have a good one.
You gotta train, stay ahead of the game. Gotta use your brain, you want glory and fame. Gotta use your pride, so you can stay alive.